Thank you.
That's a troublemaker.
Oh, yes, she is. She's really good. Yeah.
Motion carries, and we go into the next area, which is citizens to be heard. And the first person is Dawn Elmore Prairie.
I'm very proud that you said it right this time. And I did want to clarify also that the piece of paper that you have in front of you is a resolution passed by the SAC Faculty Senate, but tonight I'm speaking in my role as the chairperson of the Alamo College's Super Senate, so I'm speaking on behalf of all the faculty. I know that you're accustomed to faculty members speaking to you as citizens to be heard to bring issues of concern to your attention. However, tonight I come before you not with complaints, but with compliments. On behalf of the faculty of the Alamo Colleges, our leadership wishes to recognize everyone who took part in the process which resulted in our new compensation structure and the resulting raises. This process is truly a result of shared governance in action. First, I would like to thank the members of the Compensation Committee. This group worked together for 2 years. They poured over mounds of data, and they created a solid, reasonable plan which fairly remunerates faculty in comparison with our peers and corrects past inequities. In particular, I would like to recognize the leadership of Dr. Robert Ziegler and George Johnson, the co-chairs of this committee, as well as the outstanding analytical and persuasive skills of committee member Dr. Brian Stout. Without the tireless efforts of this group, we would not have had a plan from which to begin this process. I would also like to applaud the group's willingness to compromise on some points and stand their ground on those which were most important to faculty. Next, I would be remiss if I did not thank Dr. Leslie for his cooperation in engaging with the committee during the initial process, as well as his willingness to reconsider his original position on the 100% adjunct pay during the summer. This was an important step in the dialogue, and this show of goodwill was very important in allowing the process to move forward. But ultimately, I would not be standing here tonight if it were not for the board's efforts in moving the faculty compensation proposal forward to its final approval. Faculty appreciate the fact that you listened to our position. And you also listened to that of the chancellor during the initial committee meeting. You considered both points of view carefully, and ultimately you decided to support our proposal. Once the minute order reached the full board, some considerable confusion arose over what was being discussed and what was actually approved during the initial committee meeting due to some procedural errors. You worked diligently to ensure that you understood the issues, had the correct minute order to vote on, and rectified the inaccuracies. This was a difficult and complicated process. It would have been very easy for you to defer this matter or simply not approve it. Yet you persevered, and you made a good decision. I thank you for these efforts. And we also owe a special thank you to Bill Armstrong for his guidance during that very challenging discussion. But the most gratifying part of this process was to hear so many of you voice your appreciation of the faculty's role at the colleges. In a time when we constantly hear we need to do more with less, we need to pass more students, we need to achieve higher numbers of graduates, we have gotten used to the message that we have areas upon which we need to improve. And while that message is very important, hearing that you understand our commitment to educating our students and know how valuable our work is means a great deal to us. Faculty members are passionate about teaching. We want to see our students achieve their goals, and we treasure the relationships that we have with them as educators, mentors, and leaders. Your acknowledgement of us in both word and deed means a great deal to us. So thank you to every single person involved in this process. And we look forward to our statements from Human Resources explaining exactly how this is going to work. And we especially look forward to our first paychecks on September 15th. Thank you very much.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Bruce Leslie, members of the audience. My name is Velma Ibarra, and I currently serve as the State Education Chair for Texas State LULAC, a member of our local council, 4631, and I also serve as a member of the Hardendale ISD School Board. However, my views and my comments this evening do not represent those of the Hardendale School Board. I'm here as a grandparent with two students coming up into two of the wonderful programs with the ACB. I want to thank all of you all on this board because I realize how many hours of volunteer work are involved in serving on a board now that I am doing the same. I see many friends here in the audience who have been excellent partners to us in the Harlandale School District through the years. But today I am here to speak to you about a topic that I know is a difficult one, but I am here to ask that this board not consider an increase in tuition for our students. I fully realize as a school board member where many of us are sitting in light of the billions of dollars that we have faced in cuts the last 2-3 years. And unfortunately, some of the forecasts tell us that we may even be headed for some harder times. So I fully understand why you have to look at an increase. You've got to look at a source of revenue to further support your expenses and costs. However, before we hit students with an increase that could vary anywhere from $60, $80, depending on the number of hours in which they are enrolled, I ask that you please pay very close attention to the message that we are providing to students. Where we are at on an economics, ladder is what is important if we look at what could be considered a nominal amount, but to some, in light of the economic crises that our families are facing, nonetheless an amount that is significant to a young lady or a parent or a student studying here. And any time that we put out in the community the possibility of a tuition increase, that concept alone and those two words alone could dissuade whether it's one student or any student from considering either enrolling or continuing their studies, because we know that all of us are taxed and burdened right now as per the prices out there on the market for whatever it is that we're buying. The most important reason, however, this evening why I'm here to ask that you not consider a tuition increase is to ask you all to look carefully at the concept of expansion. If we are in the midst of an economic crisis here, and we're going to ask our kids possibly to pay, or our students, to come forward with additional dollars, then I would ask that we perhaps look very carefully at the possibility of expanding to another college here in our area, particularly the possible proposal of a college up in the Kerrville area. All kids deserve to have the excellent services of this community college district, and there is a time when we can and should expand. It is evident that perhaps the time to do that, in light of looking at a possible tuition increase, is not now. So I would ask you to please take that into consideration. Again, I thank you, I applaud you, and I thank the staff, the deans who have always been excellent and very supportive of our efforts at Harlandale. But we're here to speak about the kids that come here and bring $68 or $100 that we consider looking elsewhere. And I know that's very difficult. I thank you for your kind attention.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Jesse J. Alanis. I'm here as a resident of Southside in the Palo Alto area. And I'm here to speak on the increase of the tuition for kids. With great sadness that we hear of that, but I know that you got to do what you got to do to accomplish the needs that you have to accomplish. A little story: I served humbly on the Harlandale Board of Trustees since 2007, and the first month that I came onto the board, we had to close one of the schools down, and we had to several people around, but we did not fire anybody. Our budget is a little bit over $100 million a year, and we have not laid off anybody. What I'm trying to say is that there are other ways that we can hold our budget down. Harlandale is very unique because in 2007 we were at almost not $1 million, but just under $1 million in our fund balance. And in the 5 years that I've been there, we've managed to bring up the fund balance to $43 million. And we're having a surplus of $12 million this year that we can increase for all employees. And that's without laying off anybody and just not filling positions. We're very proud at Harlandale, but we are economically strapped over there with our kids. And one thing we don't want to do is discourage any of our children not to attend our community college. Now, every student at the Harlandale School District that receives a diploma from us, we give them a $500 scholarship. I mean, every single one that gets a diploma gets $500. You guys don't make us work a little bit harder with English. But I'd say what we're doing, this is just a small part of the community, of the Alamo Community College area. It's very small, but it does, the Harlandale area, that is, but it has an impact throughout the city with economically challenged families. So please consider that. Thank you very much for your attention.
That's all the citizens to be heard. And moving on to the chairman's report. Nothing to add tonight, so we'll Chancellor's report.
Thank you.